I call this meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. Board members present here tonight. We got the whole gamut here: Nick Poloni, Ted Gergen, myself, Dana Powers, Steve Brown, and Jack Nicolai. Administration present, we have Connie Valenza, Marquez Guzman. Man. Okay, Judy's not here. We have Ryan Sandberg and Patty Fitzgerald. And we do not have any visitors at this time. And I have the wrong agenda pulled up. So what are we at now? Super. Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get an approval on the agenda or motion on the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries. Okay, I believe that. Okay, President's report here. Superintendent search update. So I'll kind of backtrack a couple weeks just to get everyone aligned on what's happened thus far and then what's going to happen tomorrow night. So we had our application deadline was met and we received 6 applicants. And before our jaws drop for that, I want to provide some background on the average number of applicants 2 years previous and before was about 17. It's about the average of resumes or applications that came in for superintendent position. And then the last 2 years, that has gone down significantly to 7. And we received 6. So while—
So 6 this,
That is correct.
okay.
So it is I believe those are Wisconsin only numbers, but I would imagine that it's nationwide. So it's really a challenging position. I think we all know that. Yeah, Connie especially, if you have any questions. So yes, we did receive a less number than the 17 that maybe we would have wanted to several years ago, but it is still right around the average. The question may come in is why did Wilmot get so many, or those types of questions. And really the simple answer to that is high school superintendent position is the sought after position. So we would expect a high school to get more applicants than a grade school. So we narrowed those 6 down to 5 that we were all in agreement that we were looking to have interview. And those 5 came in over a span of 2 evenings where the 5 board members and the 5 administrative people, you guys, had separate interviews where a different set of questions were asked for each. As a result of that, the board specifically talked and the administrative team talked, and the administrative feedback was provided to the board already. That is extremely valuable information to have. And what else is great is that Connie has been so involved in this process, which I don't know if that's typical or not, but we're happy to have that extra level of insight and wisdom in the process as well. So she's been really instrumental in her feedback, both just with her wisdom and her doing it herself, and in her process for applying within our position and in her previous roles. So we had those narrowed down to 5, and we, within the board, selected the 2 top candidates that we were looking at. We did that with discussion, with rubrics, with the tools in front of us that we could do it in a systematic way instead of what we wouldn't want is not following that process. So we had those 2 applicants ready to come back for a second round of interview, and within the last week of spring break, Andrew, one of the 2, had decided to stay within his school district. My guess is my reference calls may have started the discussion within their own system. To be expected, it's something that happens, we know this. So I really look at it as a matter of good for him, good for his district. I wish them all the well. He was apologetic, knowing that he is putting us in a spot. So it was a kind way that he exited the process. It may seem concerning that there is only one person left in the running. I do not see it that way, and I'm seeing nods. I don't believe that any of us are concerned at this time. So I think it's basically a call to the public to please attend the forums tomorrow. Staff, 3:45, community and parents, 5:30. Just because there's one applicant does not mean that we don't care or value your input. It really is a matter of if this particular person does not work out, then we do have to make more difficult decisions. But I think tomorrow is extremely valuable in having staff in the community come out and meet Dr. King and provide us your feedback. It's not why should I bother going because there's only one applicant? It's absolutely come and see who this applicant is. So that is where we are to date. Tomorrow, it really is a really long process for Dr. King. It's staff is first at 3:45. She will get then a tour of the building, and then it will be meeting with the parents and community, and then the board, we will meet with her last. We already have our 10-ish questions, and that is meant to be more of a, I don't want to say a loose conversation, but it's more of a conversational type of a meeting versus an interview. And that's, of course, really important for the board to be able to see how they can interact with the person and to make sure that our questions and concerns are answered. So that is where we are to date. Probably my longest president's report to date. As you can see, this is a really big project for the board. It's outside of referendums and putting a new superintendent in place. It's our biggest jobs. So any questions, feel free to call me, email me, call and email Connie, of course. Any questions, we're welcome to them. Great. I still don't have my agenda up. Okay, Steve.
Yes, just a reminder to everyone about the election coming up. The upcoming spring election will take place on Tuesday, April 5th. The candidates running for the school board in this order on the ballot, Ted Gergen and myself, Steve Brown. There will also be 2 referendum questions on the ballot. Question 1 is about a 3-year non-recurring operating referendum to exceed the levy by $1.5 million annually to allow the district to maintain programming, class sizes, and retain our very quality staff. Question number 2 is about an $18.3 million bonding referendum allowing for significant facility improvements at historically low interest rates, as well as addressing the ongoing and anticipated maintenance of our aging facility. There will be no increase in the levy due to the referendum. So just a reminder from all of us is please vote on April 5th of 2022. Mm-hmm. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Tim.
All right, thank you. And Marquez, feel free to jump in if I screw this up at any point tonight. Because at some point last month I did. So we need to take a look at, we need to clarify and review the payments of accounts payable bills dated 1/13 to 2/17/2022. There was an I incorrectly read the amount of total checks that were cut, and the correct amount of checks cut was $903,361.21. So
Now, is that a fireable offense?
if you want,
Okay.
I mean,
Just wondering.
Are we allowed to do that?
I don't think so.
Okay,
We can demote them.
you can impeach me. It's all.
I
It's
was just checking.
Assistant
somebody else want to take this.
deputy treasurer.
Right now, just saying.
He did get all the subtotals right. It was just.
It was
total
just
line.
yeah. It was, I don't know what I was reading. I was reading the month prior, I think. So I'd like to move to approve the clarification of payment of accounts payable bills dated January 13th, 2022 through February 17th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and motion carries.
All right. So we will take a look at the treasurer's report dated February 2022. General fund cash account with a balance of $867,387.87. Credit cards with a balance of $11,572.40. EBC Flex and HRA cash account, a balance of $4,018.13. Capital Improvement Fund with a balance of $2,082,469.21. Petty cash, $200. LGIP of $3,447,372.82, which gives a grand asset total for February 2022 of $6,413,020.43. I'd like to move to approve the treasurer's report dated February 2022 as presented.
All those in favor?
Aye. Well done.
Motion carries. Yes.
That's just one part, Jack. We're still going.
Is anyone able to make a contribution of $1 into the petty cash, so at least that could change?
No,
I'm just asking.
I'd have to change it in my report.
Okay, no, I don't mean now.
It's all good.
I was just thought I'd ask.
All right, I'd like to present the payment of accounts payable bills from February 18th, 2022 through February 18th, 2022.
March 8th.
Sorry, March 18th. See, this is why Mark has it so great for us.
Numbers.
Yes, let me just grab this.
Only one page of Amazon orders. That's a record low.
March 18th, 2022, yes. Sorry. These include checks numbered. I just want to make sure I have this right because this is when we were on the phone today, Mark. 70896 through 70996. And, sorry, this is where I think I called you. 202-100-584 through 212-200-005. Total for checks of $942,980.51. I'd like to move to approve the payment of accounts payable bills dated February 18th, 2022 through March 18th, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Just a quick thing, Connie, before we move on. Marquez and I chatted a little bit today about trying to align the treasurer's report. So if you look at the dates of the treasurer's report, the checks, so the accounts payable bills don't necessarily align to those dates. So there's this like weird overlap. So we talked today about making sure like the bills also align to the treasurer's report. So that would be like March 1st to March 30th instead of these weird like cutoffs. I don't know if you want to like.
Yeah, so as you noticed, the treasurer's report is for the month of February, ending February 28th, 2022. Whereas the accounts payable bills was February 18th through March 18th. It's kind of an arbitrary amount that changes depending on when the board meetings are. Sometimes it's only 3 weeks, sometimes it's up to 6 weeks. The other thing is, as you can see on this month's, there's seems to be sometimes there's gaps in there, and that comes up with when we're working on payroll. So even though, let's say today is March 29th, or today 28th? 29th.
29th, yep.
Okay. Today's the 29th. So we have our payroll coming up this Friday on April 1st. But we're preparing like the checks that go out to the IRS, to the Department of Revenue, to our health insurance, that all have to be sent on April 1st. But we're preparing them right now. So right now in our financial system, those check numbers are kind of saved as we're preparing these checks. And we don't actually cut them until the 1st. But if we do a check run in between when we start that and April 1st, then the checks kind of get out of order. So I think by proposing to do it in a month time frame, we won't see some of these gaps, and it'll be consistent with the treasurer's report. So that would be, I guess what I'm proposing is moving forward, we just do it during the same time frame as the treasurer's report.
Great.
So then that brings about the question of next month, so at the April board meeting, do we want to show the full month of March, or because we've already reported March through March 18th, do we want to just do like March 19th through the 31st? And it doesn't matter to me, but if we do the whole month of March, you'll see some of the same ones that were on this one.
Maybe to catch us up, just do that window.
Just the March
so it's
19th
not that-
through
yeah.
the 31st, and then beginning at the May meeting, it'll be
Yeah.
the full month of
Yeah,
April.
because we've already approved the check numbers prior to that.
Yes.
Right, right.
Okay. All right.
That's great.
Sounds good.
Awesome, thank you.
Perfect.
So we have a whole lot of board meeting minutes. We have the minutes of the special school board meeting, February 28th, 2022, as printed and amended.
So about this one, I did show up halfway through and it showed me absent on there. I don't know if we amended to show that I was late. It was a special school board meeting before the regular school board meeting last time, I believe.
It says
Oh, did it say that?
arrived at 6:20.
Okay, I must have missed that, or I was looking. Oh, okay, yeah,
I
perfect.
can change that if you want that.
No, that's fine, okay. I motion to approve the minutes of the special school board meeting dated 2/28/2022 as printed and or amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, and motion carries.
And we have the minutes of the regular school board meeting, February 28th, as printed or amended.
I motion to approve the minutes of the regular school board meeting dated 2/28/2022 as printed and or amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The minutes of the special school board meeting, 3/2/2022, as printed and or amended.
I motion to approve the minutes of the special school board meeting dated 3/2/2022 as printed and or amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries.
Dad needs one.
Keep going.
Stop meeting. Now we have the minutes of the special school board meeting of 3/9/2022, as printed and or amended.
I motion to approve the minutes of the special school board meeting dated 3/9/2022 as printed and or amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I abstain.
Abstain. You, both of you were gone, right?
No, I should abstain the last one, the
Second.
3/2/2022. It didn't pop up quick enough on my screen.
9th, okay.
Yeah.
There
So
was some.
Steve was
meeting.
absent the 9th, I was absent the 2nd.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
And you abstained, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion carries. Right, okay.
And the minutes of the special school board meeting, March 10th, 2022, as printed or amended.
I motion to approve the minutes of the special school board meeting dated 3/10/2022 as printed and or amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
Ask a question, on the one that you should abstain from, could you make that motion then?
Was that the?
I can. That was
So just a motion to
on the 9th. I move to approve the minutes of the special school board meeting dated March 9th, 2022 as printed or amended.
No, that would
No.
have been the second.
No,
The
not the
second.
9th.
Strike that.
I move to approve the minutes of the special school board meeting dated March 2nd, 2022 as printed or amended. I think you were absent that day too, right?
No, I was absent on the,
Yeah.
Yep,
You were on the 2nd as well.
that's right.
That was when we had Dan from the firm, right?
Yep. Now I'm remembering this. Okay, so the second, both Steve and Nick.
yeah,
The
right.
motion, the motion, so approve, yeah.
Second it though.
So then somebody else has.
I'll second. I have perfect attendance. I was there.
Are we on the second?
Yes, on
For
the
ninth.
second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstain.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Get that right, Diane?
Okay. In all these years, though, I think I have missed very few,
goodness.
but I forgot
Yeah.
that much. Thank you for pointing that
No
out.
worries.
Did we do the minutes of the special school board
I
meeting?
don't
3/10?
remember. I don't think we did. I don't think we did the 10th.
10th?
The 10th?
We started, that was Nick and Jack that made that motion.
All right.
Oh, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Wow, that was
I'm always in
tricky.
favor.
That's a lot of meetings.
Public comments. Did we receive any? Diane. Okay, we do not have any public comments at this time.
Moving into action items, the first action item is for an academic support teacher and grade level teacher contract. This is going to be a really tricky hiring time. The days of having multiple applicants is long gone. So we had a situation where we had a really high quality student teacher working for us, and we also had a need to provide some interventions for our students who may have slid behind a little bit during the pandemic, or to provide some additional support. So we met with and offered a contract to Brooke Kennedy. Again, she was our student teacher and dedicated building substitute for us during the 21-22 school year. The district will have several grade level openings in the 22-2023 school year. Brooke will provide targeted intervention using ESSER funds for the remainder of this school year and will be placed at a grade level teaching position in the fall of 2022. She graduated from UW Oshkosh in elementary education with a minor in language arts and a certificate in English as a second language. Our concern as a leadership team was that anybody coming through now, if they start interviewing, they probably will get hired, and we wanted to make sure that we were hanging on to quality employees. So the motion would be to approve a 1.0 FTE contract for Brooke Kennedy for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year and the 2022-2023 school year.
I move to approve a 1.0 FTE contract for Brooke Kennedy for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year and the 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have a grade level teacher leave request. Allie Carney is one of our kindergarten teachers. She started with the Salem School District in the 2017-2018 school year. She began pursuing a master's degree in counseling in 2020. She's requesting a 1-year leave for child rearing reasons and to complete her school counseling internship requirements. There's a pretty significant amount of hours, and she really felt that it would be impossible for her to work a full-time job, take care of a growing family, and then put in those hours. So she's requesting a 1 year. We absolutely hope she returns, but maybe returning in a different position at some point down the road. The motion option would be to approve Allie Carney's request for a 1-year leave of absence for child rearing reasons and to complete her school counseling internship requirements.
I move to approve Ally Carney's request for a 1-year leave of absence for child rearing reasons and to complete her school counseling internship requirements.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Moving into our retirement, so we have a little bit of a time span there. So we have Wendy Upthegrove, who is our speech and language pathologist, is a retirement request. She started actually with CISA in the fall of the 1986-87 school year. And she began in Salem then in 2005. She served as a mentor to multiple speech and language pathologists for the district. The motion option would be to reluctantly accept Mrs. Upthegrove's retirement request, along with expressing thanks for years of service to the Salem School District and providing retirement benefits for which she is eligible. Just kidding.
A motion to reluctantly accept Ms. Upthegrove's retirement request, along with expressing thanks for her years of service to the Salem School District and providing retirement benefits for which she is eligible.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Another. Ann Hughes, our 7th grade English and language arts teacher, has served as both a parent volunteer, student teacher, and substitute teacher actually prior to being hired as a 7th grade English language arts teacher for the 2015-16 school year. She's retiring to her family's cottage up north. The motion option would be to reluctantly accept Mrs. Hughes' retirement request along with expressing thanks for her years of service to the Salem School District.
I move to reluctantly accept Mrs. Hughes' retirement request along with expressing thanks for her years of service to the Salem School District.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Fixed your
Already.
school district. So Art Ballinger started with the custodial maintenance department in January of 1989. Around here, he is referred to as Mr. Art by both the kids and staff, and in addition to custodial duties, has safely assisted many of our students to school in the morning and as a crossing guard. So the motion option would be to reluctantly accept Mr. Ballinger's retirement request along with expressing thanks for his years of service to the Salem School District and providing retirement benefits for which he is eligible.
I move to reluctantly accept Mr. Ballinger's retirement request, along with expressing a lot of thanks from all of us for his years of service to the Salem School District and providing retirement benefits for which he is eligible.
So moved.
Se-
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, Artie.
Do we
Yeah,
know
thank
who's
you.
going to walk the kids? No? Is there an
I don't
application
know, I might be looking for a job.
Yes.
Never know.
You're hired.
I'm so used to seeing him out there.
Yeah.
It's really gonna be,
I could go from my apartment to
that's right, you're right
crossing
there.
right into I could probably do the parking lot still.
Probably
You
right
could.
there.
We'll see.
You'll miss it.
We have a Director of Student Services retirement request. Judith Mrachkowski was hired by the district during the summer of 2019. I just have to say a note that she led the Salem School District in providing specialized support services to our students through historically challenging times. I mean, the pandemic, to try and provide the services for our students through virtual, through hybrid, was quite a challenge. She is retiring to enjoy travel with her spouse. The motion option would be to reluctantly accept Mrs. Mrachkowski's retirement request, along with expressing thanks for her leadership during the last 3 years.
I move to reluctantly accept Mrs. Mrachkowski's retirement request along with expressing thanks for her leadership during the last 3 years.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I was afraid of missing her last.
I saw it in everyone.
I always have to think.
Yeah.
So we have an action item for a grade level teacher resignation, Kelly Gagliardi. She's presently a kindergarten teacher. She began with the district in 2018 as a first grade teacher. She's moving back to her hometown to begin a family. The motion option would be to accept Mrs. Gagliardi's resignation request as presented, effective June 3rd, 2022.
I move to accept Mrs. Gagliardi's resignation request as presented, effective June 3rd, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Then we have Melissa Paul. She began with the Salem School District in the 2017-2018 school year. She was on family leave for the 2021-2022 school year, and she has decided to resign to have more time with her family. It was kind of fun to read her letter of resignation, because she did share that Salem not only provided her with employment, but found her a husband as well.
Deal.
So the motion option would be to accept Mrs. Paul's resignation request as presented, effective June 3rd, 2022.
I move to accept Mrs. Paul's resignation request as presented, effective June 3rd of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's a heavy list. That hurts.
Yeah.
Those are good, good people.
So just a little bit of an oversight. We had the board had approved a retirement package for our employees. But in doing that, we didn't establish an eligibility deadline for submission of that retirement request, which would be pretty typical, so that the district can actually plan and then hire those, that position with as much notice as possible. My recommendation, so at the time the board was not asked to establish the deadline, but in order to appropriately staff, the district needs to know early on to do that. A typical deadline would be March 15th, but for the 2021-2022 school year, I would recommend April 20th, just so that people still have time to know that deadline's coming up, and then April 15th in subsequent years, so that there's plenty of time for them to be able to make that decision. So the option would be to approve the staff retirement submission deadline as presented, so that I could get that out to staff.
A quick question, is the March 15th timeline, is that like equivalent to when we would do like a non-renewal? Like that many days out?
Yep.
Okay.
And also the time where we would start setting up contracts for staff, so that we would know. And again, I think one of the other reasons for that is we know it's much more difficult now to hire. And getting that information out as soon as possible in terms of which positions we have to fill is
I just
better.
didn't know if it would be February 15th, so like.
I move to approve staff requirement submission deadline as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We'll make sure staff is aware of that deadline. So information item, to share the 2022-2023 budget update.
So I just wanted to provide a brief update on the 2022-2023 budget. So there are, at this time, a lot of unknowns, a lot of variables that have yet to be determined. So I just kind of wanted to break down some of the main factors, both on the revenue side and the expense side. So enrollment is kind of at the heart of, a school district budget. We do have a large 8th grade class that's graduating. So that could potentially mean that next year we would have a lower total amount of students. But we do then kind of look at next year's 4K numbers, and if that's large enough to offset the loss of the 8th grade class, that'd be great. The other thing we look at is the transition from this year's 4K to next year's 5K. So we tend to pick up students in between there. Maybe the family didn't send their kid to 4K, but then we'll send them to 5K. So those are just some things coming up from the enrollment side. As I've mentioned in a couple past meetings, the revenue limit for next year in the state budget is set at $0 increase. So it's flat, which is not a great thing, and that's not normal, but the state's kind of logic is that we've got ESSER money, so to help offset that. So that's not a great thing, but just putting that out there. And there is talks about the governor trying to add money, but nothing has changed at this point in time. Obviously, the referendum is on everybody's mind at this point. 2 questions on the April 5th ballot. The 1.5 million operating allows us to retain staff, maintain programming, and low class sizes. But just as important is the bonding referendum, because it allows us to address some of those maintenance needs that will need to be addressed regardless of the outcome of the referendum, but also to improve the accessibility, safety, outdoor learning, STEM, play areas, things like that. And then open enrollment, I know we've talked about this since I've been here, the gap between the number of students that open enroll in versus the number of students that open enroll out. And fortunately, things have been trending in the right directions from both ends for us. So the open enrollment, number of students open enrolling in has actually been going up, which is a good thing. Especially on the revenue side, because that just means we have more students attending here, more revenue. And then I'll talk about it later on the expense side, but the open enrollment out has actually been trending down. So we're narrowing that gap, and obviously it's still a big gap, but anything we can do to narrow that helps us both on a revenue side and an expense side.
Oh, go ahead. That's
No,
the
go
one.
on, go on, Jen.
As long as we're in information items and you're discussing the ballot, does anybody have any information about the possibility of voting early, going down to the building and picking up forms, or?
I have heard that right now, about 450 people have voted, have turned in absentee ballots, and I believe just under 700 were sent out. So, and I heard from someone at Village Hall that the numbers have been increasing over the last maybe 2 or 3 days, because it started last week.
The mailed out absentee ballots would have had to have been requested, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, is there any way to do it before the election, maybe going down in person and getting an absentee ballot? My wife's working.
Oh, yeah, you can go down, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not speaking for the village, but I do know that you can go down there and I think the village is open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And you can go there and actually get a ballot and fill it out right then and there, turn it in if you wish, or take it with you and then physically return it because they're not using a Dropbox anymore.
Thank you.
Yep.
Answer right there.
So the other thing that you
I
can
read
do,
part of that in West of the Eye, by the way, so I mentioned that.
Thank you
go
for
to our website, there's a drop-down that talks about voting information, and it connects you to each of the different municipalities where voting occurs with information on how to do that.
Right, and of course, I was just talking about Salem and not Paterson.
But now everybody knows.
everybody,
All
all of the people.
8 people.
All nine
Oh, okay, so 3 of us. So all 5 people. But thank you for attending.
I wanted to ask you, what are the numbers, if you know them, the current number of students in grade 7 compared to the number in grade 8 now?
Grade 7 and grade 8 are both the same size at this point. I think they're at 109 students.
It's close.
Yeah.
I mean, give or take.
Yeah, it's
It's
give or
within
take.
one
It's right around
student,
there.
yeah.
How do you not have that number memorized?
I know that too because those are our heavy lunch count. You know, we always have to make sure we have enough food at the 7th and 8th grade lunches.
They get two, they tend to get two.
Okay, thank you. And it's very good to hear about those students who are opting in versus those who are opting out. I mean, it's always great to hear it the way you described it versus the other one.
Yep. And then on the expense side, so the CPI percent increase that we will be using for bargaining for next year is at 4.7%, which is significantly higher than it's been since I've been a teacher or working in education. So that's going to be a challenge, but something that is coming up. And then obviously other expenses such as transportation, where there's higher labor costs and fuel costs that go into that. Utilities are up, currently they're 7% higher than they were at this time last year, and I think it's probably not gonna go down, so that's a pretty high increase. Like I mentioned, we do have those facilities, maintenance priority items that hopefully will be addressed, assuming referendum question 2 passes. But even if that doesn't pass, we'll still have to address those. And then, as I had mentioned before, the open enrollment out has been trending down, so that reduces our expense that we pay then to other districts. So, so those are just some of the main factors, and obviously I'll continue to update you as we get more. The big one, at least coming up in the next week, is the referendum. But then all the other expense side and revenue side, putting in together into our budget model, and hopefully the budget model is showing a positive balance or an even budget, but obviously, as you get more and more information, we're updating that. So, any questions at this point?
Oh, that's great.
Good. Thank you.
Then the 2022-2023 school calendar update, recall that the board approved a resolution to start a couple days early. That was back in February. It was a resolution to request a school start date waiver by 2 days due to potential construction and ability to align family calendars with Westosha Central. DPI has now approved that waiver request with the first day of school at Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. So you can see we'll be putting that out without the draft on it anymore. That'll go out to families so that they can start planning what their next year looks like. So a little bit of a delay because of waiting for that waiver, but it just actually came through this week. Another information update on the referendum. We've talked quite a bit about the election date being Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. There are 2 remaining community information meetings and facility tours, both Saturday, April 2nd, one at 10 a.m. and one at 1 p.m. The tour begins in the LGI, which is right here, and you will be escorted through every corner of this building by your retiring host, because this is my 7th time through on this tour, so I know it pretty well now. So I would encourage anyone to please come in to our building and get a feel for what our facilities are actually like, so that you can make an informed choice on April 5th. The other thing I would encourage our people to is to go to our website. You can get to it at that address, but you can also go to our district website and then click to get to our referendum page. There's lots of great information on there about the various aspects of the referendum, about voting information, about what the ballot looks like and what exactly the language of the ballot is. We have added some really nice staff videos to share kind of what the referendum would mean to them. So please take a look at some of those. I think it gives you some real insight as to what our staff would do with some of that. We sent out a mailer to all of our community residents to give them information about the upcoming referendum in terms of what it covered, what the tax impact would be, and what the 2 different questions were. So hopefully everybody got that and had a chance to read through that. And then, you know, if you, as was mentioned earlier, if people have questions, certainly please contact us so that we can answer those questions. So I think I gave you a pile of little, we've been handing out to our families, sending information to our families with information, tried to give as much information as possible to people in the community and offer as many opportunities as we could. And so we hope at this point that our community members have all the information they need to make an informed choice. So.
The picture of the Pebble snowman is priceless. We should almost print that picture and put it outside the new playground, just so we can remember.
I think, you know, I always say, you know, until you have been in the concrete jungle with the kids, you cannot picture what our playground looks like. And until you have experienced kids coming home with pebbles in their shoes and their pockets and their backpacks and everything else, or looked in our hallway after recess and you can see them going down the hallway, it is just something that you have to experience, I think. But we felt that that was one of those things we needed to share. So. Administrator reports.
All right. So I just finished talking about the 2022-2023 budget, but I just also kind of wanted to talk about the current budget that we're in right now. So I was looking through the numbers. So through February of 2022, so that through the end of last month, both our revenue and expenses are in line with the original projected balanced budget. So that is good. And obviously, over the next several months, as we get closer to the fiscal year end, I'll continue to update the board. We will in June I'll provide some potential budget amendments. So where maybe when we budgeted, we thought we were going to spend it this way, and we actually spent it this way, just so that we don't have that as an audit finding as well. And that typically happens in June, and then in July, we would revisit our transfer to Fund 46, the long-term capital improvement plan. With once we get to July, we have a sense of where things have ended. So I'll just continue to update the board that way. As we had mentioned at the last board meeting, we had a bunch of ESSER 3 budget plans and meetings, and we submitted our information to DPI on the 11th of March. So that was just a few weeks ago. So every school district in the state had to do that, and so they still are. I'm still waiting for them to approve it, but I have no doubt that they will. But I think it's taking DPI a while to wade through the 436 applications. We had to submit the final certification for Y staff, so that's our staffing report that Diane and I work on, making sure people have the right licenses, we have the right contract amounts, and all that information to DPI. That was submitted last week on the 17th, on St. Patrick's Day. And then I did schedule the audit, the financial audit. So similar to last year, where we had two different parts, we had a preliminary audit in June. This year, that's on Thursday, June 16th. And so they kind of look at everything through March 31st, or May 31st. And then we do the full financial audit over a 3-day span, August 8th through August 10th. So those dates are on the calendar. We booked them with the auditors. And so my office is planning our vacations or summer time off around those dates.
Mr. Sandberg.
Just kind of wanted to give, despite the weather outside that's happening right now, thank you. So they can see.
Just so the camera isn't.
So despite the weather that's kind of happening outside right now, after spring break, Patty and I have kind of been working on summer school and kind of getting ready for that. So once again, we're going to be offering this year 2 different sessions. So we're going to do a session 1, which will be from June 13th to July 1st, and that's going to be an enrichment program. And then part of the reason we kind of did that is we kind of noticed in years past, obviously, some of those students, we'd offer both kind of those classes that students would need maybe more support in, like in math and reading. And then they'd have all these different enrichment programs and opportunities for classes to take. And we realized, obviously, a lot of those parents would put those students in those math and reading classes. And we felt like that wasn't necessarily the most fair thing to do because those kids would love to be in those enrichment classes too. So Connie kind of came up with this idea last year and it worked really well. So we're going to kind of continue it for this year. So session 1, like I said, will be June 13th, July 1st, and that will be our enrichment program. And then session 2 will be July 25th through August 5th. And again, that'll be our Step Up program. And again, that's really just focused on preparing students for the next grade level in a fun, engaging way. Focus is obviously in math and reading, kind of getting ready for first grade classes, second grade classes, kind of et cetera like that. And one of the nice things we're going to be able to do too, again, is busing is going to be provided for session 2. Obviously, we don't want a determinant of obviously some of those families that maybe are working and things like that, and they'd love to be a part of that second session, they just can't. Well, we don't want to have that be an obstacle for them. So that will be available for session 2. Registration for session 1 will open actually on April 18th, so in a couple weeks. And then we're offering 13 different enrichment classes this year. So some of the examples are Crafty Kids, instrumental music, digital drawing and animation, sports around the world, wonderful world of writing, and Soak Up the Sun. And then students will have an opportunity to register for those 3 60-minute classes.
Great.
And then for information regarding session 2 will kind of come out later in April. We're looking to do registration for that kind of in the beginning to middle of May. And then another nice thing this year, we'll be able to offer breakfast and lunch for all students again, like we've been able to the last couple years. And there won't be any fees for summer school this year.
And busing, that's
Yeah.
great.
So just want to kind of give an update on that. So a lot of exciting things. Last year even, we still had, for session 1, I kind of pulled back the numbers. We had 141 students participate last year, and it's kind of trending back in that direction where we're at pre-COVID levels. So hopefully it kind of continues in that way. So. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Patty?
Hello, everyone. So the only thing more exciting than audits and budgeting is forward testing. So we're starting our state testing. Sorry, Marquez.
Oh, sorry.
Week. And so for really a couple of weeks before spring break and then this week, teachers are working on prepping kids for the test. We are really trying to change mindsets, modeling that less anxiety, more excitement. Like this is an opportunity to show what you know versus this is a super stressful experience. So we're doing things like making sure that kids are getting time on the Chromebooks, using the online tools, figuring out what the testing experience is like so that when the test comes up, they're ready to go. So they're doing some of that work. Some grade levels are turning that test prep into games, so they're gamifying things. They'll do a reading passage and then play games and compete against each other in the classroom just to make it a little more exciting. Third grade was brainstorming calming techniques to teach the kids so that once they start testing, if they're having some anxiety, then they have some strategies to deal with that. And then just really modeling a positive attitude. There are some surprises in store for kids, lots of things that they should be looking forward to. You'll have to keep your eyes on social media once testing starts, because I don't want to give away any of their secrets. But just really trying to change that mindset toward testing so it's less stressful for kids. And they can maybe, approaching it with a calmer attitude will improve outcomes as well. So, all right, questions?
Good luck, thank you.
Yeah.
So at this point, there are not any committee reports. We've been focused on referendum and district administrator hiring. And so there are also not any recommended at this point. Depending upon the outcome of the referendum, obviously, there may be some committee meetings held at that point. We have some board meetings coming up. Just a reminder of the district administrator candidate forum. That is tomorrow night, starting at 3:45 for staff and then 5:30 for community and family members. We have a special school board meeting at 6:30 Wednesday, March 30th. That's for the board as a closed session. And then our next regular school board meeting coming up 7 p.m. Tuesday, April 26th, 2022 here in the LGI. So at this point, we would go into closed session.
I move for the board to go into closed session in the middle school library pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. And this will be a discussion of individual administrative contract requests and clarification. The board will convene an open session to take any action from closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, Nick,
Aye.
Ted,
Aye.
Jack,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
and myself, aye. We are now in closed. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. It is 8:14. I move to adjourn at 8:14.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were easy notes to get to.
Right.
The time.